Hello and welcome to the April 2021 SOAR office hours. We're so glad that you're able to join us once again to learn a little bit more about Social Security advocacy. Again, I'm Jasmine Wigfall, the Legislative Director at Social Security Works, and I'm really glad to be able to work with all of you who have been working hard to complete the SOAR course. We are just so happy with how everything has turned out. All of the interactions that we've had have been really positive, and all the feedback we've received is really helpful as well. So I just want to thank you all for participating in SOAR and participating in our office hours this month. Today, to start, I would like to cover one housekeeping item before we jump into our material for the month, because I've had one question come up over and over again, and I thought it would be best to really address that here so that everyone who is interested in SOAR understands exactly how it works. So the SOAR course is completely on demand. That means that course material is not live. There's not one date that the course will take place, or it's not a series of dates that the course will take place. Every single thing that's part of the core curriculum of SOAR is already recorded, and it's on the SOAR website. So many of you have already been to socialsecurityworks.org/SOAR. And once you visit that website, many of you have already registered, meaning that you've created a username, which is often your email address, and then you've created a password so that you have the ability to log into our SOAR course. So once you have created your own user account, you have access to the entire course today. So what you have to do is go back to that homepage, so socialsecurityworks.org/SOAR, and in the top right-hand corner, you'll see log in. You'll click on log in, enter the email address and the password that you created at your registration process, and then once you click submit, you'll be directed back to the homepage. At the top of that homepage, there's a link that says My Courses. Once you click on My Courses, the entire SOAR course is there for you, ready to get started. So I just wanted to clear that up because I get that question a lot, and I don't want anyone to think they have to wait for us or that you're waiting for a particular date to take the SOAR course. You can take the entire course at your own pace right now. So if you want to take it now, or if you actually want to wait until maybe later in the year to take the course, that's perfectly fine. We wanted to make this easy because we understand everyone has different schedules. We have people taking the course anywhere from the East Coast all the way to Hawaii. And so we wanted to, again, be flexible and allow for anyone who wanted to take the course to take the course. So if you have any questions at any time, again, please do not hesitate to reach out. Our email address is SOAR, SOAR, at socialsecurityworks.org. And again, I look at that email address every day and I try to answer your questions as quickly as possible. So let's just dive right into today's questions. We are going to try to cover a couple of questions within this one topic about Social Security benefits. I received a few questions about how benefits are classified, like what are the different types of benefits? And we covered that a little bit in lesson 1 of the SOAR course, but I think that there was still some uncertainty about the different types of benefits. And that's really crucial to understand how Social Security works, because oftentimes people think of Social Security as just a retirement benefit, but it's so much more than that. And it's so much more than just covering the worker. Social Security is a family program. And so I'm hoping that today we can cover what the benefits are that Social Security covers, who it covers, so that you can understand a little better why we think that those benefits actually could be enhanced even more and expanded to actually include different sorts of benefits, because the founders of Social Security, again, had a really broad vision for what Social Security could be. And the system that we see today is really just a foundation for each generation to build upon. And so I want to start there and cover what are the 3 types of benefits that Social Security beneficiaries can receive. So if you talk to somebody who's very technical at the Social Security Administration, they classify the benefits in 3 parts referred to as old age insurance, survivors insurance, and disability insurance. Now, survivors and disability insurance, I think, are pretty easy to understand, right? You have disability insurance if you become disabled. You have survivors insurance for the survivors of a worker. Old age insurance is maybe a little more vague, but it's actually the most popular type of benefit that you've heard of, right? It's retirement insurance. So I just want to clear that up for anybody who was misunderstanding what old age insurance refers to. That is the retirement benefit that workers receive once they reach their retirement age. And that's usually somewhere around 65 or 67 for younger workers. So old age insurance is the same thing as retirement insurance. And so I think I will use retirement insurance as we move forward. But if I ever say old age insurance, I'm talking about retirement insurance. So let's start with retirement because it's, like I said, the most well-known part of the Social Security system. So retirement insurance, like I mentioned earlier, is what workers receive when they retire permanently from the workforce. So let's say a worker today reaches age 67 and they decide that they no longer want to work, but they've been working for years and they need an income, right? They need something to live on after they stop getting their normal wages from work. Social Security retirement benefits are created for that. It's supposed to be a foundational sort of income to make sure that people do not fall into poverty once they stop working. So like I said, it's very common for people who are over 65, over 66, 67 to say, I'm done working. I'm now going to make part of my income Social Security benefits. So for some workers, they'll have other things like pensions, 401ks, and any sort of private savings to also supplement their Social Security benefits. But there are many workers who actually only depend on Social Security as their full retirement. And so retirement benefits are very important. It is, again, like I said, like the cornerstone of what Social Security started as. The next portion, which I think pairs right hand in hand with the retirement benefits, is the survivor benefits. So not all workers make it to age 65 or 66 to age 70, and they may leave behind a widow who maybe didn't work. They may leave behind a child who is still in school. In that case, the widow or widower or the child will receive a benefit based on the work history of the worker. So for a worker who's, let's say, 45 and passes away, their spouse and their children are insured a benefit to make sure, again, that their families do not have to fall into poverty after an untimely passing. I know for many families, with the COVID-19 pandemic being so devastating, survivors insurance has been critical for so many families. I know that oftentimes when we talk about COVID-19, we speak about older Americans being affected, and that is so true. Disproportionately older Americans died at much higher rates, but there were many, many, many young people, young workers who passed away from COVID-19, often people of color who lost their lives to this pandemic. And their children and their spouses are protected by Social Security's benefits. And that's just, it's so important that we provide that, and Social Security does that. So to move on to the third and final portion of Social Security's benefits is disability benefits. And that is for workers who are permanently disabled. So a good example of this is, say, maybe after September 11th, a frontline worker who is permanently disabled from all of the terrible things that happened that day, say they're no longer able to work, then Social Security steps in and provides benefits based off of their work history. And again, these are benefits that are incredibly important to workers, really important to their families, because Social Security is present for some of the hardest times in people's lives, some of the biggest transition. Anytime that someone passes away or becomes disabled or even chooses to retire, those are really big life-changing events. And Social Security is there to really provide, like I said, foundational income for families and for workers. So those are the three examples that I've come up with to really try to explain what each benefit is. Now, some of the other questions that I had were a little more in depth about each of those benefits, but I want to try to address those here as well while we're discussing what each benefit does. So one specific question was about student benefits, or we can call them child benefits. So the best example I can think of is, say a worker passes away, we'll say due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and their child receives benefits. Now that is considered a child or student benefit. That benefit is provided for any child who is still in grade school. So think around age 18 or younger. Those children will receive that benefit to help them throughout their time in school and provide much needed assistance for either their parent or grandparent who's taking care of them. One thing that is policy related we can talk about is whether that benefit should be extended past age 18. There was a time where the child's benefit was extended for students who were in college. And that was really important because, as many of you know, parents don't cut their children off when they graduate from high school. Oftentimes, children receive support from their parents throughout college and sometimes beyond that. And that's totally fine. And it's great that our families work like that. But Social Security changed the rules, and I should say Congress changed the rules, and Social Security only provides that benefit through age 18 now. So moving forward, Congress can change the way that works. And there are proposals in Congress to change that age either back to age 22 or even through age 26, which would mirror what we see in the Affordable Care Act, where students are now able to stay on their parents' health insurance through age 26. So if that's something you're interested in, I definitely advise you to reach out and we can talk a little further about specific legislation that does that. But again, I want to keep these short, so I won't go into what those specific bills are. But again, these are good proposals that Social Security Work supports. Extending the student or child benefit through age 26 would be a really great improvement over what happens now when benefits are cut off for most children at age 18. There was also a question about adult children receiving benefits. So there is one instance where adult children can receive benefits, say after their parent passes away, or if their parent is retired and is receiving benefits, or if their parent becomes disabled, again, and is receiving benefits. So children of beneficiaries who are disabled are able to receive benefits beyond age 18 and into their adult years. So think of someone who is very young, and throughout their entire childhood, they've depended on their parents in ways that maybe other children have not. So think of someone with a severe learning disability who maybe won't actually be able to join the workforce after they graduate from high school. Children who will always be under the care of their parents into their adult years. Those children qualify for Social Security benefits based on the work history of their parent. And so that is one instance where adult children do qualify for Social Security benefits. And then I guess the other exception that I should mention is that there are sometimes parents actually who benefit based off of the work history of their child. So for example, if a parent was depending on their children as, their caregiver or for over half of their income and well-being, then parents also could qualify for benefits based off of the work history of their child. So Social Security's website, I should say, is a really, really, really good resource to answer questions like this, basic questions about the types of benefits, who qualifies, how do they qualify, what do you have to do if you want to actually file for these benefits. And so I will link in the description box a link to all of the sorts of fact sheets that Social Security, I should say the Social Security Administration, puts out related to disability benefits, survivors benefits, and retirement benefits. It will not answer every single thing you ever wanted to know about those benefits, but they will give you a good idea of how each of those benefits works and how they work together, and then also how they serve each community. So again, like I said, retirement benefits don't just serve the retired worker. Spouses can receive benefits as well. Their children could receive benefits as well if they're under age 18. And so it's just, it's so complex and so intertwined because it's one system, but there's so many different portions. And so I hope that this little explanation was somewhat helpful in answering any of your questions about how the three portions of Social Security work. Maybe some of the examples were helpful. Maybe you need some more examples, and I'm happy to come up with those if necessary. But again, I hope that this little bit has been giving you an enhanced understanding of the things that you learned in lesson 1 of our SOAR course. So I want to close out here because we've been together for about 15 minutes. And so I think that on our next lesson, we will try to cover more of your questions because we did receive several questions in reference to our training. And again, we want to get to all of them, but we don't want to make these videos too long. Also, I want to encourage you to read our weekly newsletter. We send out the SOAR Digest every Friday around 4 p.m. Eastern time. That gives you a little bit of a glimpse into the policy things that we're working on right now. We've tried to cover the Biden administration. We've been covering legislation that's come out to overturn bad regulations. This week, we know that there's some legislation that will get introduced by some members of Congress, so we're hoping to include those in the mix of the SOAR Digest. So I do hope that you all are reading those. Again, if you're for some reason not receiving them, please let us know, and we will make sure that we either correct your email address or update your information to ensure that you're getting the opportunity to read our SOAR Digest. So lastly, I just want to say thank you all again for your time, for your attention. I want to remind you that you should, again, visit socialsecurityworks.org/SOAR if you haven't yet registered for SOAR, or if you haven't actually logged in to see the course, again, it's very simple to register. It's very simple to log in once you've done the registration. And so we encourage you to log on. We also, again, like I said, if you have any questions, we make ourselves available. So please don't hesitate to reach out and email us if you have any questions. And then lastly, we just encourage you to share this opportunity with your friends and family. We have enjoyed watching people, families really complete this training and learn a lot. And like we said, Social Security Works is a family program, and it is up to each generation to build on the things that our ancestors have built. So we think it's really important for not just seniors, but for young people too, to take this training and learn everything they can. And then lastly, if you're interested in learning more about our work at Social Security Works, please visit us at socialsecurityworks.org. You can tweet with us at twitter.com/ssworks, or you can share our things on Facebook. You can search facebook.com/socialsecurityworks and find us there. Thank you so much for joining us for our SOAR office hours for April 2021. We will see you again in May. Take care. Bye.